The story of love in the wars is the meeting of Achilles and Penthesilea on the battlefield. Achilles is the great Greek warrior. Penthesilea is the queen of the Amazons. And during the Trojan War, as the Greeks are fighting with the Trojans, the Amazons come roaring onto the scene, which is when Achilles and Penthesilea meet, and they sort of fall immediately in love, you might say, although given how the play progresses, it's a little bit debatable as to sort of what they actually fall into. But they're immediately taken by one another. You know, Kleist, in the early 1800s, he was trying to write sort of a quintessential German drama that sort of combined the sort of greatness of Greek drama and the sort of dexterity of Shakespearean drama into something sort of new and energetic and exciting that had never been done before. The Amazons were once of a race of people, Scythians, I guess, who were basically taken over by the Ethiopians, and the Ethiopians killed all the men and kept all the women, and so the women secretly sharpened all their jewelry into knives and ended up killing Vexorus, the king of the Ethiopians, and then all of the other women killed all the other men that they were being, you know, sort of held by, and decided to create a state that had no men. I mean, so in a sense, the founding of their state, at least according to the story that is told in Kleist's play, is based on oppression. You know, it's based on the fact that these women were basically suffering everything that had been taken from them, and they were being held captive and incredibly oppressed by this other group, and they wanted none of that. They wanted to create a situation in which men had there were no men. They had no power, they had no say, they had no presence. That's why Penthesilea is on the battlefield. They come roaring in to basically harvest men from the various armies to bring back and impregnate them so that they can propagate their race. And in the meantime, Penthesilea sort of inadvertently falls in love with Achilles. I mean, it's definitely an adaptation of Kleist's play, but he's sort of found this I think a very sort of generous door into this German epic by making it much more accessible in a way, and by sort of bringing it down and onto earth a little bit more and providing a human scale for it. It's extraordinarily funny, but the humor is not parody. The humor, he sort of unearths this humor in the situation that allows us to kind of enter into it. You know, it almost feels like a Shakespearean comedy when it starts, and then although the seeds of tragedy are built into the situation, and so very quickly, or inevitably, it turns into a tragedy, which is, I think, sort of the brilliance of Banville's language, which is sort of maintains the scope and richness, but also sort of pares it down into this very sleek, playable, exciting story.